So today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video than what you guys would normally see. Now normally there would be some type of commentary with some Battlefield gameplay. As you can probably tell already, I'm on my desktop, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial for the cinematic tool mod that Hattiwatti made. Now I've not seen any tutorials yet, and I've been pretty experienced with these tools so far, so I thought I would go ahead and share what I know about these tools and some things you can do to make your cinematics look a lot better. Also take some cool screenshots along the way. So first off, if you want to download the tools, you need to go to bfcinematictools.com. I will link this in the description down below. And once you're there, click this orange download button, and once the page loads up, go all the way to the bottom and click download. Now after you wait about 5 seconds for the AdFly link to load, then you should click skip ad and it will download to your downloads folder. So once you have extracted the files, you should get a new folder on your desktop, and it should include about 7 things. Extreme Injector V2 and Cinematic Tools are what we're going to be using. Now run as administrator on the Extreme Injector, and then it should be blank if you have not done this before. I think you could type in BF4.exe if BF4 isn't running, and if it is running, just hit select and then go all the way to the bottom of the list and double click whatever icon shows the BF4 one. Now to add the DLL, just click add DLL and do extended cine tool _x64. Now as you can see, we are on Battlelog, and to actually use the tools in a server, it has to be unranked, and Punkbuster and Fair Fight have to be disabled. So I am on Blue Entertainment Filming server, and I will link some servers in the description for you guys to go ahead and use. I use Blue Entertainment and not Hattiwatti server because you can change the maps without an admin. You just vote change for whatever map you want, and it changes in about 10 seconds. So that is very nice to have. The next thing you want to do is inject the tools. Now as you can see, I'm in a game right now, and I always inject the tools after I can run around in the game, not on the loading screen. So just hit inject, and this little command prompt thingy will come up, and this is normal. Basically what this does is kind of tracks what changes with the tools, I guess would be a simple explanation. So now what you want to do is open these cinematic tools. You can run these as administrator, but it doesn't really matter. I've just clicked on it, but I'll run it as administrator for you guys right now. And once they are loaded, basically before I start doing any of my cinematics, I do UI.draw enable space 0. This disables the HUD elements and a bunch of other stuff. Now, the first thing I do is usually put depth of field on, so under visual environment hit enable, and this will enable pretty much everything in this tab, but you have to actually turn it on individually. Now the focus distance for depth of field, if we can, here let me quickly go in first person camera. Now this is how you spectate yourself without needing a model to actually do it for you in spectator mode. Just hit enable, and then you can see the camera changed. And go to disable soldier input. This will avoid your soldier from moving, and pretty much that's it. Now, the secret thing that I've discovered about the tools and how to get some awesome screenshots, go under miscellaneous and go to Global Field of View Override. Now this controls the field of view and how much you can actually see on the image. Now the smaller the better, because you get more detail on the soldier, the map, etc, etc. So I usually put mine to 30 or 40. If you put it to 30, you can see it zoomed in quite a bit, and you can see a lot more detail on the soldier. And you also it kind of looks nice. It kind of looks official from DICE and so on and so forth. So after that, let's enable depth of field really quick. Here, let me freeze time, and you can see I froze time in the game, but I'm still moving around with the camera. That's pretty nifty to have. And next, what you want to do is go to enable depth of field, and I think I have the best settings for depth of field in my personal opinion. So what I do is put the focus distance to 2, and basically this is 2 meters, I'm pretty sure, is how much isn't blurred in depth of field. So if you're going to get a close-up shot, obviously put a lower number. So I usually use 2, and for the far end, this is where the blur is at the most. I usually use about like 20 or 25. So if we put it on 20, you can see it's kind of ugly right now, but if you put the max blur to about 1 or 1.5, you can see it's got a nice little blur in the background there. Putting your start for 0, just making sure these are on 0. There's this weird bug with the visual environment tab and how these don't have any numbers in them. It's kind of weird, but oh well. Blur factor I usually use about 1. That's how like blurry the background actually is. And for the blur filter, this is for simple depth of field. We're on sprite right now. It doesn't really show it, but we are on sprite. You can see sprite. There's a difference between simple and sprite. Sprite's kind of the bokeh effect, and simple's just like a Gaussian blur. And I usually use about 5 pixels if I'm going to do simple, but I haven't really used simple in a while, so that's about that. And you can actually focus with the mouse scroll. This is a really neat feature. So if I enable that, the scrolling sensitivity is about 1, and if I scroll with my mouse, you can see the blur's getting a little bit closer to the camera. So this would be really cool if you're shooting a cinematic and you were like blurring or focusing on one area, switching to another. Pretty nifty little tool right there. And if you don't like that, you just disable it and then put the far end back to like 20 or something, and then the focus distance to like 2. It'll repair itself like that. The next thing is, let's see, sky. We can enable or disable the sky. You see it goes all black if you just disable it. And let's re-enable that. Put the brightness on like 0.5. You can see it got darker. Kind of modify the sky a little bit. You can change the sun size to like 1. Oh, God, that's bright. Sun scale, I don't really know what that does yet. But yeah, I've pretty much learned everything I know just by experimenting with the tools. One thing to keep in mind, you're not going to be the greatest at using these at first, which is what I've come to realize. And basically, I've just pretty much experimented with some settings and some other visual environment stuff like wind. Here, let's see if we can enable the wind here. Let me unfreeze time. And basically the strength controls it. So if you put it, I guess there aren't any trees on this map, but oh well. The strength controls like how much wind there actually is. So like the scale of the wind. And sky, well, we already went over that. Outdoor lighting, if you want to get like a night scene, you can disable all the light on the map or like mess around with it. Now the sun color, this is what changes the kind of the color of the ground per se. So if you put it to black, you can see it got darker. If you put it to white, it got lighter. So you can change the color of the map, which looks pretty ridiculous. I usually don't mess around with this too much. Maybe on maps like Operation Firestorm, you can see I got this map right now. It kind of looks a little bit nighttime-ish. So yeah, just pretty much experiment around with a lot of these settings. Here, if we go down here, you can disable fog. Here, yeah, as you can see over in the corner or in the background, you can see the fog is getting disabled. Gradient enable. Let's see. I don't really like messing around with the fog. It's kind of weird. Film grain. You can add a little film grain on there if you want. Dynamic AO. I'm pretty sure this is like lighting around the character. Yeah. So keep that enabled. That looks a lot better. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention really quick. Let me redo my UI. Basically, what I do to... Here, let me undo that. Okay, basically what I do for this, to get my game like playing like this, I go to windowed mode, and this allows me to easily change the settings between Battlefield 4 and the cinematic tools. Now, sometimes when I'm taking screenshots, well, pretty much all the time now, but I'm not going to do it for this tutorial because I want to keep a solid FPS, and I don't want to go below like 20 or 30 or something like that. But basically, the resolution scaling. I put this on 200% whenever I'm taking screenshots, just because it looks a lot nicer, plus full ultra. Mess around with that if your graphics card can handle 200%. Just put it lower, or just leave it how it is. But yeah, I put my game in windowed mode, full ultra, everything like that, just to make it look a lot nicer. I've yet to record cinematics with these tools. I usually just use them for screenshots and stuff like that. So let's get out of here really quick. Disable the UI once again, and come back over here. So you can spectate yourself with the first-person camera just by hitting enable and then disabling the soldier input. Freeze time, this comes in handy pretty much all the time. If you want to get like a certain frame just captured in a bunch of different views, this is what I use all the time for like dog fights and jets, or like attack helicopter fights. It comes in handy a lot, and it's just a really unique feature for these tools because, like I just said, it comes in handy a lot. Now, in order to get rotated shots, what I do is lock to bone and then do left or right shoulder, and then you can see the camera's rotated a bit. And if we go back to, where's my soldier? Oh, here, it's right here. You can see the camera's rotated a bit about these soldiers, so pretty nifty. If I can get the camera angled again. Yeah, pretty nifty. You can see the camera's angled, and basically I use DxStory to capture all my screenshots. I think it has the best quality, and it's just really useful because if you go to our desktop here, I have a folder with all the screenshots that I just take. They just go in here, and then I decide if I want them or not, and if I want to put them on Twitter or use them for thumbnails and stuff like that. But yeah, next thing I wanted to show you guys is I haven't really messed around with the third-person camera or the spectator third-person. I usually just do first-person camera, and basically this is my free camera. I don't really need anything else. Again, you can go to free camera if you want to go in spectator mode and do some stuff with like vehicles and stuff. That's pretty much it, I think. Let's see if we missed anything. Oh, character lighting. Danny on PC brought this up to me the other day. So if we enable this, put it to like add, and you could change a bunch of stuff. It's all 0 because of the bug that I mentioned earlier, but basically it controls how lit up the character model is. What else is there? Oh, you could save your presets for, like, if I wanted to save the color of this map and the depth of field and stuff like that, I could just save it as a preset. I have some presets right now. Paracel Storm, Silk Road, I already have one. Here, let me open up that one. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Huh, that's weird. It's kind of buggy a bit, but these tools are pretty useful for taking screenshots and stuff like that. Like I said earlier, change the field of view. If I put it to like 35, you can see the camera shot got a little bit wider, and then if you put it to like 1, you can see how close it actually is. Like, you can get really detailed. Oh, and my Battlefield 4 crashed. Looks like it's the end of the tutorial, guys. So, if you enjoyed the video and want to see further tutorials of the cinematic tools, then make sure to let me know down in the comments. And if you learned some things today, then make sure to click like on the video and maybe share it with some people who are interested in learning more about these awesome tools. But as always, this has been Zainab, and I'll see you in the next one.